What is up, you guys? I'm back sitting in front of my closet door, if you guys can't tell, because that is where the lighting is best today. But I'm super excited to be sitting down and filming this video for you guys. It was highly requested. So I wasn't sure which video to film first. I wasn't sure if I should do this one or my how I balance my time video. I'm pretty sure my balancing time video won on my Instagram poll, but I figured I would do this because I'm a bit inspired by the subject right now. So if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I will put my Instagram down below because that is where I post a bunch of polls on which videos to post, and I ask you guys a ton of questions. I'm super interactive on there, as well as my Twitter and Snapchat. Is this even like focused on me? So anyways, today's subject of the video is budgeting. Most of these tips you can apply to your everyday life, even if you don't have a horse or a ride and you've just stumbled across this video, but I do have a few specific horsey tips that I wanted to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's just jump in. So I was inspired to film this video because if you guys watch my vlogs, if you don't, hi, I'm Carter. Nice to meet you. Subscribe down below so you never miss a video. But basically, I got a new job and I love it, but I don't have as many hours as I used to at my old job. So I've been really having to like, not just budget, but like hardcore budget. And if you guys don't know, I have a boyfriend, his name is Kurt, and we are looking to get a house next year. So we're starting to get into like these stages of like super planning and super budgeting and super saving for that. So I figured this would be a really great time to film this video for you guys. If you guys also don't know and you stumbled across this video, I'm a third-year university student, so I'm not a full-time worker. I am in school, so these are going to be budgeting tips for people in school that have horses. And so I figured I would give you guys kind of like a little background on Salem and I, just so you guys can get a feel of like how budgeting started for us. So I got Salem when I was 15, and we were at, well, I had been at the barn that Salem was at. Did that make sense? The barn I was at then, I had been at for about 3 years taking lessons and showing, and then we got Salem, and unfortunately board was just too much. It was a big show barn and board was like ridiculous, honestly, like compared to what I'm paying now. It was about 3 times as much. And the deal back then was obviously I didn't have a great job. I was in high school. My part-time job, I worked like 6 hours a week. I really didn't work a lot, and luckily my parents helped me pay for Salem. Then I'm super thankful for that. So for the last 2 years of high school, because I got Salem in grade 11, I basically just helped out with board as much as I could, and then I paid the farrier. So he had shoes then, so that was kind of me. I paid for that. And then when it came to university, I started paying everything on my own as well as all my other bills. So I have a car, I pay car insurance. So I'll give you guys kind of a breakdown of the bills I pay. So I pay board, the farrier, the vet, anything to do with like Salem really, my car payment, my car insurance, my phone bill, anything, my credit card, my student line credit, anyways, anything like that. So I figured let's just jump right on into the video in terms of tips. So now you guys in second year of university, I did pretty much work full time, but that really took a toll on my grades, and I was just obsessed with having money, honestly, because my schedule was a bit more flexible in university and I found a good paying job. I just worked a lot and it really took a toll on my grades. So I'm not working too much this year, but I didn't really have any issues first and second year paying for him. I used to be super bad at budgeting. Like my credit card has been maxed out I think twice now. My student line credit was really deep first year from buying textbooks and stuff. So I got out of debt too as well. So I'll talk about that too. And yeah, I spent all my money. It was like ridiculous. I have an obsession with coffee and food. So I think the most important thing to do is to plan and organize your bills. That is just so important to do. You need to like sit down, you need to have a planner or put it on your phone. I put it on my Google Calendar. I'll show you guys in a second. But I put down what all of my bills are due. I write a list at the beginning of every month of what bills need to be paid, and then I figure out from there. I will also in my calendar write down like my 2 paydays a month, so I can figure out on which payday I'm putting what money aside for what, and being organized, because there's nothing worse than being unorganized and then realizing all your bills come out at the beginning of the month and you have no money. Here's like half wet. Okay, so this is my planner. You guys have never seen it, but this is basically what I do. This is like overwhelming. Like look how overwhelming my schedule is. Okay, so basically this is like a monthly layout, and what I do, I either do it at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month. I think November, yeah. So for November I put it at the beginning, but I basically just put all the bills I have to pay, and then October I had to go at the bottom because there was no room at the top. So basically I just write down all of my bills that I have to pay. That way I can make a list, and then I go through and I basically write down my payday. So I got paid on the 6th and I get paid on the 20th as well. And then I will write down what bills I'm paying. So on the 6th, I paid my... Did I really? Pay my car. On the 6th, I paid my car payment, and on the 20th today, I paid my insurance and the farrier. And then on the side here, I just keep like extra note of like how much is going where. And then for me as well, because I do have leasers as well, I just make a list of like who owes me what so I can keep track, because when I have to so that way when I'm going to paying board, I know. And then I just asked, yeah, so that's my first plan, is to just be organized. It makes life so much easier, honestly, guys. Like, I can't explain how much easier it is when you're organized and you're planned. And yeah, I think my big thing is that when you get paid, oh my god, my hair is so annoying today. When you get paid, definitely just take your 2 paychecks and figure out what you're gonna pay on what paycheck and what you're gonna pay on the other, so that it's not overwhelming. You have to take it all out of one paycheck, because that is never fun. Okay, so tip number 2 is to pay bills as soon as you get paid. That is my biggest tip, because I used to just kind of like wait and be like, no, it's fine. Like, let's say it's a bit harder like if your bills come out at a certain time, but if that happens, like for me, my phone bill comes out at a certain day, and so what I do is I put that money into my savings, and then the day before I just put it back into my checking. So that's one way to do it, is to put the money aside in your savings, or literally just send it that day. I'm super lucky that my dad actually, well, my insurance is on my dad, so my dad pays it and I pay him. So as soon as I get paid, like today at midnight, last night at midnight when I got paid, I sent him the e-transfer from my car insurance right away. That way I don't forget. That way there's no stalling. That way in a week you can't be like, oh, it's okay, like I'm just gonna pay my car insurance, like in a week I'll have the money, and then you're super poor and you're like, oh my god, what just happened? So definitely pay your bills as soon as you get them. Number 3 is the envelope system, and I don't actually use like technically the envelope system, but I just want to give you guys an idea. So the envelope system is basically, you literally have envelopes every month and you put a certain amount of money aside for that envelope, and when it runs out, you can't have any more money. So I do that basically with bills. So I pay my bills as soon as I get them, and then I allow myself a certain amount of money to spend and a certain amount of money is to go into my savings. So I kind of use the envelope system in a bit of a different way, but I definitely just recommend seeing how much you can put into your savings every month, how much you get to spend. Tip number 4 is to take out cash. I am a cash fanatic. That sounds really weird, but I love having cash on me. I used to just always use my debit card, but I find it's really hard. With a debit card, you're just like tapping it or entering your PIN or swiping, and you're not really actually consciously aware of how much you're spending. You're not seeing your bank account go down. So I think the best thing to do to limit your spending is to take out cash. So whenever I get paid, I take out $100. That's all I'm allowed to spend on food and coffee, etc. It limits yourself, and when it's out, it's out. You're not allowed to use anything else. So I think that's really good. I started doing that, and I've noticed a huge difference. You can visualize the cash when you're spending it. You can visualize how much you have left, and it really helps. I don't know where we're at. Tip number 5 is to pay your bills on time. Honestly, it is so... Speaking of money, I think I'm babysitting tonight. Don't put things on your credit card that you can't afford. Don't go shopping unless you can pay it off. If you know you get paid the next day, like totally okay, go put it on your credit card. Like, for example, last night Em and I went out to get Mexican food after my last midterm to celebrate, and I get paid today, and I have no money in my bank account. So I put in my credit card, but as soon as I got paid this morning, I paid off my credit card. The only thing I do use my credit card for is gas, because I get points towards that. But other than that, do not use your credit card unless it's like a dire emergency, or unless you have the money to pay it off right away. That's just what I can suggest. Obviously situations happen, but yeah, I just recommend just trying to think adultly. I know it's really hard when you're 18, you have this like, you're handed this credit card that has a $1,000 limit and you kind of go crazy, but definitely just like sit back and yeah. My next tip is don't buy it unless you need it. I was so bad for this in first year of university, because I did get a better paying job, and in high school I was really only used to making like $200 every 2 weeks. And so I was getting these like $1,000 paychecks, and I was just blowing the money on clothes and stuff. I was buying stuff for Salem, and it's okay to treat yourself once in a while. As you guys know, I just did that big tack haul, but do not buy it unless you need it. This really applies to horsey stuff. I don't think you need a 20th Ogilvy saddle pad. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, obviously. So I've really been good about that. I'm not really bad about buying tack, just because tack is so expensive. But if you do not need it, do not buy it right now. It's okay to treat yourself once in a while. I totally understand. But when you're going to the tack store every 2 weeks and buying a new saddle pad and new polos, you don't need that. I'm also a very minimalistic person when it comes to riding. I don't have a lot of stuff anymore. I have like 3 pairs of polos, 2 pairs of boots, and like 3 saddle pads. That's all I need, but that's just the way I am. I know some people aren't like that and they love to have a lot, but definitely if you do not need it, do not buy it. I know that having a saddle pad in every color is probably a great idea, but you don't need to spend that extra $50 on a saddle pad when you have a ton of other good ones you can use. Like I'm trying to think of this year, anything tack related I bought this year was a bridle. Besides my tack haul, I bought a bridle, and that was just because Salem broke it. I would never have gone out to just buy another bridle just because, you know what I mean? That might kind of sound harsh. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for it to like come across as super harsh, but it can only be said that way. Like there's no way to sugarcoat it. Like don't buy it unless you really need it for your horse. Another thing that ties into that is buying stuff used. Facebook groups are literally your best friend. I know with horses and stuff it can be so hard. Like if you get a new horse, you're gonna have to try a bunch of different bits and all that stuff, and that stuff gets expensive. So definitely check out Facebook groups. They're so good for finding things you need and selling. That is a big thing. I sold so many things that Facebook group I no longer needed, and it was honestly so great. So definitely check out Facebook groups if you do need tack and buy it used. I swear by buying tack used. Some stuff I do buy brand new, and that's my next point, which is to know what to splurge on. Especially in the horse world, horse stuff is just ridiculously expensive. So really the only things I will splurge on are helmets and breeches. And even then I don't really splurge on blankets anymore. I usually buy oh my god, I can't talk. I usually buy my blankets used like a lot of people do now, just because I can get more for a better price. They're already, usually they don't have holes and stuff. You can get, like this year I think I got 3 used rain sheets for the price of a new one. You know what I mean? Helmets I will always buy new, and same thing with breeches. I know it's not the same for everyone, but I am very tall and I have a really awkward body build, so it's really hard for me to buy breeches used. I only usually stick with 1 or 2 brands that I like. So that's one thing I will splurge on is breeches. But definitely kind of figure out what you want to splurge on, what you want to save. Even bridles for me isn't really a splurge category because I'd prefer to get a used one that's already broken in than a brand new one. But that's just me. That's just the way I've kind of grown up to be. The next tip is to not underestimate the power of holidays. Holidays are great. Holidays are awesome. And I definitely suggest if you can wait off on getting that new helmet or wait off on getting that new bridle or that new pair of breeches you've been eyeing, ask for it for a holiday, for your birthday or for Christmas, because trust me, when you get older, most of the time you get what you want because people don't know what to buy you. Like for example, I'm going to ask for my double bridle for Christmas this year, as well as another pair of the Elation breeches. I don't need to buy them right now, but I do want them. You see what I mean? So yeah, Christmas and birthday presents come in handy. Yeah, last tip I'm going to share with you guys is kind of like mainly a horsey one, and it is to kind of figure out where you can reduce costs. And this kind of ties into like everything. There's gonna be situations where it's definitely like not a moral choice, but you have to kind of pick and choose. But for example, board. If your barn offers indoor board and outdoor board and you're trying to save money, put your horse on outdoor board. I'm a huge outdoor board person. I think horses should be outside. Nothing against stalls, but definitely if you're looking for a way to reduce costs, put them on outdoor board. 10 out of 10 recommend. Same thing with shoes. If your horse does not need shoes, you don't need to put them on your horse. Salem was getting shoed in the summer for shows and going barefoot in the winter, and my fairy and I just decided to put him barefoot all year round because I was basically wasting $120 instead of paying $30, and he didn't really need the shoes for showing. He did completely fine this year without having shoes on, trailering and showing, etc. And yeah, so definitely try and figure out where you can kind of like cut costs a bit. And leasers. Leasers are great. Now, I personally don't have leasers for the money. I charge very little for my lease. I do it more for the time. But if you guys have a horse and you find that you don't have the time to ride and you're really tight on money, try looking into a leaser. I know it can be super, super hard to have someone else ride your horse, but think of how great it is for your horse. Your horse becomes a better horse overall when other people are riding it and applying their riding styles to it, unless they're ruining it. But let's think positively. And it's just super great and can help cut down on board costs a lot, as well as having someone out to ride your horse when you don't have time. So definitely look into like maybe part leasing or half leasing your horse if you guys own a horse and you find you guys are tight on a bit of money. But yeah, just trying to cut costs overall. You can like board, farrier, feed, etc. Obviously, please do it in a safe way. I mean, don't switch your horse on a sweet feed if you know you're trying to cut costs and your horse goes crazy on sweet feet, because that's not going to work. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you guys liked the tips I shared with you guys. Comment down below your favorite budgeting tip. If you guys have any that I didn't mention here, let me know down below because I would love to know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video, and that bell notification so you know every time I post a video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!